Have you ever felt, well, just overwhelmed by all the information out there on environmental issues and sort of wondered how it all connects to what we actually do? Today, we're doing a deep dive into a really fascinating new research paper from 2025. It seems to cut through some of that noise. It offers a surprisingly clear pathway from just knowing things to actually taking action. Our mission here is to figure out why understanding our own personal environmental footprint might just be that missing link we need to genuinely shift our behavior.
Yeah, what's really compelling about this particular study is how it weaves together three pretty critical ideas. You've got environmental literacy, then our awareness of our ecological footprint, and finally our actual environmental behavior.
Okay.
And it's not just about, knowing the facts. It seems to be about a very specific kind of self-awareness. That awareness helps translate what we know into, well, tangible actions for a more sustainable future.
That connection sounds absolutely crucial. Before we get deeper into the findings, how does this paper define environmental literacy? Is it like more than just knowing the basics?
Oh, absolutely. The research defines it pretty comprehensively. It's about understanding our whole relationship with the environment. It definitely goes beyond just the facts. It includes the values, the attitudes, and critically, the skills you need to act on that knowledge.
Ah,
Think of it as maybe a deeper, more actionable kind of understanding.
got it. And then there's the ecological footprint. We hear that term quite a bit.
Yeah.
How does this research frame its importance specifically?
Well, it's presented as a really powerful tool, a way to quantify humanity's impact on nature. It measures the actual land and water area required to sustain how we consume resources and, importantly, absorb our waste.
So it makes it concrete.
Exactly. The paper really emphasizes its role as an effective educational tool because it takes this abstract idea of impact and makes it incredibly tangible. It's a direct measure, of supply and demand.
Right. And finally, environmental behavior. How's that defined here?
In this context, it's pretty straightforward. Any activity aimed at having a positive environmental impact, so preventing pollution, promoting sustainable practices, things like that. And this study specifically wanted to explore the relationships between these three concepts, specifically in adults.
Okay, so how do they go about that?
The researchers worked with 398 adults. This was in a province in Western Turkey. They used validated scales to gather data on literacy, footprint awareness, and behavior. And the results they found are, well, truly compelling.
Okay, let's get to that then. What did the results actually reveal about how these things connect?
Well, first off, they found that both environmental literacy and ecological footprint awareness significantly influenced environmental behaviors. No huge surprise there, perhaps.
Right.
But here's where it gets particularly interesting. The study found that ecological footprint awareness has what they call a partial mediating effect.
A mediating effect, what does that mean exactly?
Think of it like a bridge, a crucial bridge. Environmental literacy boosts your awareness of your personal footprint, and it's that specific personal awareness which then really drives the positive environmental actions. It channels the effect of literacy, if that makes sense.
Wow, okay. That is a powerful finding. So it's not just about collecting facts in your head, it's about making that knowledge personal and tangible.
Exactly that. The study showed a pretty clear chain reaction. As environmental literacy went up, ecological footprint awareness also saw a substantial increase right alongside it.
Makes sense.
And here's the kicker. When they looked at what best predicted environmental behaviors, understanding one's ecological footprint was identified as the most influential factor.
More influential than general literacy.
Even more so, yes. The numbers showed it had a higher predictive value. This really just underscores the power of grasping our direct quantifiable impact. And it's worth noting, the paper mentions this is actually the first study they know of to examine this specific mediating role.
That's quite significant. So wrapping
Yeah.
this up, what does this all mean for you listening right now?
I think the biggest takeaway here is that just knowing environmental facts, well, it isn't always enough to spark real change. It seems to be that personal connection, understanding your own measurable impact on the planet, that really ignites the motivation to act. This research clearly points to promoting both environmental literacy and, maybe even more critically, ecological footprint awareness as key to fostering environmentally friendly behavior in all of us.
And that does raise a really important question, doesn't it? Given how strongly understanding our footprint links to our actions,
Yeah.
how can we, as individuals, as communities, make this concept even more tangible, more impactful in our everyday lives? Exactly. It really suggests that maybe strengthening environmental education, perhaps through more engaging programs that actually help you calculate and visualize your own footprint, That could be a transformative way to foster responsibility across all generations. So maybe something to think about. What small step might you explore today to deepen your understanding of your own environmental imprint?